Welcome back to the program, my friends. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Michael Chang, who is director of the National Eye Institute at the National Institutes of Health. Well, let's find out more. Dr. Chang, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me.
Today we're going to be sharing a little bit about ophthalmology globally, from west to east and east to west. Really happy to have you here. Dr. Chang, why, if any reason, would the NEI want to engage with eye care issues in other regions, such as in Asia Pacific?
So we've recently revised our mission statement at the National Eye Institute, and our mission is to eliminate vision loss and to improve quality of life. There are obviously a lot of issues, and there are a lot of scientists in the Asia Pacific region. And, of course, what I said isn't limited to the Asia Pacific region. We really want to engage partners around the world. So, really excited about the opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, another virtual platform, Twitter, is a very important feature of our eye care community. I've heard that you're leveraging that social media platform to increase awareness for your initiatives. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
I was in the community of researchers for 20 years. It was always frustrating to me to hear about initiatives after the fact. Well, I couldn't apply for this grant because I didn't know about it. And so one of the things that we've really done is that at the National Eye Institute, we've got a Twitter feed. We use LinkedIn and Facebook, and my Twitter handle is NEI Director. What we try to do is communicate with those audiences that we talked about, and I'll try to highlight grant opportunities, what those deadlines are, what we're doing at the National Eye Institute, what recent work has been done by researchers who are funded by the National Eye Institute. And most of those researchers are out, throughout the rest of the world, and we try to share research basically that's going to advance the field of vision. And actually, of course, we try to do that even if the research is not funded. We have a tough time keeping track of it, and so I hope social media is going to be one of those ways to, for us to disseminate research to the general public.
In the past, it seemed like, the elder doctors of our community would communicate information down, and it was kind of a top-heavy communication method. We were supposed to respect those opinions and rely upon them. Now it seems like there's a lot more a level playing field, so to speak, in terms of ophthalmic or just medical education in general. And I'm curious what you think about education in our community that can somehow cross over. It could be for ophthalmologists, researchers, even patients. Is there a way to communicate in this day and age that can kind of enhance the knowledge of all categories?
Matt, I really hope so. There's more and more knowledge available now, and everybody has access to that knowledge. Hopefully we can do a better job of partnering directly with patients through information dissemination. The fact that there's a lot more information available means that there's a lot more information available. Some of that information is medically correct, and some of that's a little bit more medically questionable. As a patient, searching information and not knowing is what I'm finding reliable or not. Just by definition, the stuff that's posted it's not really peer reviewed. And so I hope that organizations like the National Eye Institute can put information out there that patients will really be able to trust in terms of taking charge of their own care and really embracing that patient-centered care philosophy.
Yeah, in our field, sometimes we've got these complex terms, phacoemulsification or retinal detachments. And, maybe patients don't know what to make of that at first, but at the same time, if they're armed with a bit more information, even if they don't quite understand it, it seems like they could then come in if they suspected something happening to a doctor, and then the doctor could evaluate it at that point. But at least it seems like it would instigate more prophylaxis, so to speak, or care before they got to the point that it really became a problem.
patients are the people who are affected, and they really should have the most stake in this. And I see one of our challenges as getting the best information out there, not only for patients but also for healthcare providers, and obviously for the researchers who are really pushing that leading edge of knowledge discovery.
Meanwhile, could you discuss some of the recent research that you've published and shared via channels like this, Twitter?
One of the projects that we've done recently is that I worked with a group of 35 retinopathy of prematurity experts from around the world. And it was a collaboration to basically look at the terminology and the classification for retinopathy of prematurity management. This occurs every 15 to 20 years. It's really important to do that because clinicians and researchers need to use a consistent language and terminology to communicate findings, to be able to compare, apples to apples, if you will. So really big project. It took several years to do, and we published it a couple months ago.
Well, that's excellent. I'd be interested to hear a little bit more about that. AI diagnostic systems worldwide, where they're headed. We recently spoke to the medical director of Singapore National Eye Center, which seems to have a few initiatives that are near and dear to his heart. So it seems like a hot topic. Why is it so hot?
Why do we need artificial intelligence? We've already got doctors. As doctors, we're not perfect. A lot of what we do, there's some subjectivity, and some of the things that we do, particularly in a field like ophthalmology, are qualitative. We look at patterns in the eye. One person calls, one thing, another expert may call something else. And artificial intelligence has potential to help standardize diagnosis and make it a little bit more objective. The folks in Singapore have done some beautiful work showing that in many ways these systems can outperform even world experts in diagnosis, in addition to just being more consistent. In a lot of regions of the world, including in parts of the United States, we don't have enough doctors in some areas, particularly in areas where people need it the most. In our country, it's in urban areas and rural areas that are often medically underserved. And maybe artificial intelligence can help improve access to care. Why now? I think one of the differences, well, of course, computing power has increased. But another thing that really improved is access to large-scale data sets and so-called big data. There's been a lot of remarkable work that's done, but I think it's pretty clear that there's a lot of work that we still need to do.
We have both ophthalmologists and industry viewing this program. Is there anything that you'd like to leave everyone with, from ophthalmologists to industry, about your tenure at the NEI, just to really, enhance any partnerships moving forward?
The importance of collaboration. Early in my career, I started working on projects involving retinopathy of prematurity, telehealth, artificial intelligence, data science, and worked with teams of ophthalmologists, optometrists, informatics specialists, computer scientists, neonatologists. We met on a weekly or daily basis to talk about these problems, and that really struck me on how many insights you get from working with people who are not from the same background as you, how hard it is to do that, and how much effort it really takes to build and maintain those collaborations. With retinopathy of prematurity, I, along with a large group of collaborators, developed an artificial intelligence system. We took it to the United States FDA. We got what's called breakthrough status. And that really impressed upon me how much work it is to go from a good research project toward product that can make a difference for people. I think that industry can be one of those really good partners, obviously, in taking technologies from good papers to real world. There are a lot of challenges to doing that, but I hope that we can, really have an environment that fosters being able to translate that work into the real world, because it gets back to our mission statement to eliminate vision loss and to improve quality of life. There are a lot of steps to that involve a lot of different partners.
Well, this has been a fantastic interview. I really appreciate all the turf that we've covered here today, Dr. Chang. Thanks so much for joining us here in Asia Pacific from across the world. Together we can keep advancing eye care education to make a difference.
Matt, thank you very much for having me. And hopefully in the not too distant future, we can do this in person.